Dear learners, welcome back. In the last session, we covered the structure of the course and discussed different modules in brief. If you remember, me and Saurav uh, take you through different part of the whole course, discussing in brief about their relevance and importance in terms of understanding graphic design. And I hope by this time you are clear about what exactly you are going to gain from this course. Now, in this session, we will try to define design and understand the basics of graphic design. This module is going to be a foundation for all other module in this course, and it will provide a holistic understanding of design concepts, tools, techniques, which we will be covering in other modules. The whole idea behind this introductory module is to provide you a foundational understanding of what graphic design is, its historical and contemporary relevance, and essential tools. It will also highlight the various facets of graphic design. And by the end of this module, you should be able to articulate what graphic design entails and have a basic grasp or understanding of the elements that makes a good design. But before we take a deep dive into world of graphic design, let's discuss a few things which are going to help us to be motivated when we are covering the complex concepts. Right? So there are two ways of learning: active learning and passive learning. So active learning is basically a classroom learning where we interact one to one, and then we interact in a physical world. So it involves engaging a student in the learning process through activities, discussions, problem solving, and collaborative projects, rather than passively receiving information through lectures. It encourages a student to actively participate, think critically, and apply concepts in real world concepts and then real world context. This is core to design discipline, and that's why most of the design courses are set up in the real classroom setup, where there is a one-to-one interaction and there is a peer group learning which happens when you interact with your group members and then classmates. This pedagogical approach promotes a deeper understanding, retention of information, and the development of valuable skills. So, as this course is based on video lectures, where most of the time flow of the information is going to be one directional. That means we are going to deliver these lectures and this fundamental understanding through videos, and you are going to watch it and then understand it. More or less, this falls under passive learning. So, the challenge for both of us is how we can translate this into an active approach of learning. And for that, we need your support. The only way I can see is you should practice the concept in your free time, and at the same time, you should keep your mind and eyes both open when you are interacting with your surroundings, when you are interacting with other design products which is there in your house, in your surrounding, in your college, in your workplace. So if you will keep your mind and eyes open, most probably whatever discussion we are having during the class hour, you will be able to find those discussion, or you will be able to use those discussion to articulate things in terms of from the design perspective. So your surrounding environment can help you to understand all classroom concept in a very practical way. For example, when there is a discussion about the quality and role of line in design, you may find its application in buildings, street posters, road signs, shop signs, or many other places. So that means you have to keep your enthusiasm and uh, an eagerness to understand the concept through real world example whenever you are off videos or off from the class, right? Also, your sensitivity towards your surroundings, that means the places from where you are going to get the inspiration, can help you to understand the need and requirement of your user, and accordingly you can deliver a message in a very interesting way. For example, what do you see on the screen? Are you able to read anything? There is something written, but I'm sure you are unable to read it, right? But you can see these three dots, and which is kind of catching your eyes. Now, if you are not aware about how you can make this text visible on the screen, your message will be lost and it will not make any sense to anyone looking on the screen. So the idea is, through this discussion, we will try to make yourself design sensitive and sensitive towards your design decisions. Right? So now the screen is visible and you can still read it. Right? So that means a clear contrast has been created, which was not there in the previous slide. So once you understand these fundamentals, once you understand the basics, most probably you will be able to do this job in a very efficient way. Now, what do you think about this composition? Do you see any problem in this? I can see there is a problem with margin and space division as well. So how you can solve this? To know that, you need to understand design principles and concepts. And this is what we are going to cover in initial few modules. All right, so let us move ahead. Now let us first start with understanding or defining design. What is design to you? The concept of design varies from person to person based on individual experience and interaction with the product or services. For example, one of the core concepts of design is problem solving. Do you agree with this? So if you have a problem and a product is helping you out to solve that problem, it means it is an example of a good design. Agree? Let us check this definition with other design students. Hi Chakradhar.
Hi.
What is your definition of design, if you have to explain?
Oh, design. Design is, for me, design is essentially channelizing your creativity for a particular purpose, either to create a product or to make an existing product or a process more efficient.
Okay. And do you think over time design definition, individual perception about design changes? And if yes, then how it changes?
Yeah, so as a designer accustoms themselves new knowledge or a new technology comes into the existing market, totally the way we look at design or we apply the design or into the design process will change completely. So for it is always important to have look out for all these trends and for all these new processes which come into play.
I feel design is all about problem solving, not just related to UX design, product design, type design, but it's something that applies throughout the world, even in business, engineering. and even the humanitarian fields. Everywhere you'll see design is applicable in terms of problem solving, thinking in terms of the user and solving any problem anyone is having is at the end of the day design.
I think for me, design is something that will be invisible. Like a definition of design for me is invisibility of the feature that you have added or something that you're creating. So I think a good design is something that is so invisible that you don't notice that is making your life better. So I think that's what's design for me.
I think design is a means to change the world. You are creating a product or anything that changes someone's life. For example, someone who is they're handicapped, and you create a product for them, it will change their life and make it easier. At the same time, design is not all about making someone's life easier through a product, but it could also lie in the environment around you and not directly affect you, but it will always subconsciously affect you and your mind.
So, design for me is a method of understanding people's pain points, and when I understand what they're going through, and mostly, for example, if I'm doing some research on people who are visually impaired and I understand their pain points, I want to do the problem solving part of it. So, maybe design for me is something solving a problem and solving something which can help them for the betterment of society. So, yeah, that is what design is for me.
I think that design is a practical application of play. The same basic emotions that make us human, like lust or fear, or even play for that matter, is what makes us create. And I think using what we create or the need to create to make our lives better is what design is.
To me, design is problem identification followed by problem solving. It's also innovation and contextualization of that.
Design for me is an interplay of, I would say, functionality and creativity. So, looking at what an engineer does and what an artist does, it's kind of like a combination of that.
Design, according to me, is fundamentally problem solving. So the kind of problems you solve depends upon the kind of design you're working towards. And this sort of changes your approach based on, say, if it's product design or it's graphic design, film, animation, etc.
Design is basically problem solving, making or modifying media, products, or systems, or any kind of solution. But apart from this, personally for me, design is very humanistic. Like design is for the people, by the people, and it always strives to make everyone's lives better.
Design for me is basically science having fun.
So, design for me is problem solving. How you solve the problems and make people's life easier. That is what design means to me.
Design for me is exploration. I believe in any field of design, I'm personally towards illustration and publication, but I think exploration is a key part of what design means to me and what design overall also is in each of their fields.
Design for me is not a single definition term. For some, it may be enjoyment. For some, it may be problem solving. So that's what I think.
Now, after listening so many people and their definition about design, what do you think? Can you come up with your own definition of design? I would suggest please write it down on a page and pin it somewhere in your workplace. The task is every day you revisit that definition and check if you have to change your definition or keep it the same way. I'm sure after a few days of understanding, your definition will change. And maybe in the later phase when we are interacting, you can disclose that as well. Now, just for better understanding, if you break a design in a different part or phases, there are 4 Ds of design, right? And it is called discover, design, develop, and deploy. So in design, discovery is basically the phase which deals with an exploration to find the suitable problem, defining the problem and setting up the design brief. That means the discovery is a phase where one takes freedom of exploring everything. It is the phase where you're not bound to fix your or focus on one thing, but you're open to grasp, understand, or look into the literature, which bring out so many interesting ways in terms of looking at your problem. So it is more of a divergent approach where you look into all the possible explanations and understanding which is there, written by other scholars or other literature which are relevant to that field. The second part is design. This phase is more of divergent thinking again, and understanding of different tools and techniques to address the defined problem which were found in the discovery phase. This is also the phase of developing multiple concepts. So once you understand the tools and techniques, you start creating loose sketches and ideations. But those ideations are, it is not focused on one path, but it is about creating ideas in multiple ways, right? So that it will be very exhaustive in terms of understanding the design problem or solving the design problem. The third phase is develop, which deals with convergent thinking processes. So here you converse and you narrow down your area of inquiry. This stage is more about finalizing the concept and critiquing one's ideas and developing the product. It is more about asking a lot of questions, because this is the stage which helps you out to come up with the final concept, and also brings a lot of subjectivity to the whole design process. Once this development phase is over, the final stage is deploy. So after the product or artifact development is done, this last phase deals with the client's presentation, testing, and getting feedback. And then after the feedback, you come back and then redefine the problem, or maybe rework on the solution, and then make it perfect and suitable for the context and user. So if you look at this process of discover and design, development, deployment, it is oscillates between divergent and convergent modes. So there are 5 phases, right? We just discussed 4 stages. Here there are 5 phases which also have a evolution, and then in terms of tracking the learning and understanding. So if you look at discovery phase, it is more about understanding the challenges and preparing research findings or gathering inspiration, which is very divergent. It is opening up. And then if you move to the interpretation part, it is more about telling the stories and searching for meanings, and then finding out the opportunities, suitable opportunities to solve the problem. Third is ideation, which is more focused on generating ideas and refining ideas. Then you go to where it again converge, right? So if you see the image, it is very narrow, and then from there again it expand a little, and it goes through the experimentation process, which is to do with the making prototype and getting feedback, and then Gradually, further, you just focus at one solution and then deliver the product or final outcome. Another important thing to remember and understand is quality of a designer. What do you think? What should be the quality of a designer? Let us find and then see what others are saying. So, what do you think? What should be quality of a designer?
So I think the designer should have very big ears and very big eyes, because ears, you need to hear what the existing problems are, what are the needs of the various diverse backgrounds of people, and to look out for design solutions already been created. And we should have big eyes to understand what new new technology is coming into the market, and what are the uh, uh, new trends which are coming into play, and what are the likes of the people.
Right. And they, in fact, when you said they should have big eye and big ear,
Yeah.
that means you should be a good listener.
Yeah.
And more you will listen, most probably more you will understand your users and understand the design history or whatever you can say.
Yes,
Right.
yes, definitely.
And then accordingly you can refine
Yeah.
Your understanding and skills.
Because finally, the solutions you're going to create will ultimately depend upon the designer's understanding of what are the factors which is affecting that particular problem. So
Mhm.
it is always important to have big eyes and big ears.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you so much.
Thank
I think a major quality every designer should have is empathy in terms of the user. Sometimes what we do is we think from our own perspective and we don't really think about the user. So we completely forget that we're designing for someone else and not ourselves. I think to introspect and not fall into that trap is a big quality a designer should have.
The qualities in a designer that I'm looking forward to would be, first of all, empathetic. Like the person should be able to put themselves in the shoes of the customer or whoever they are addressing the problem to. And also, while designing something, I think the person should be not very inclined, like they should not have an ego, like their idea is good, but like they should not have a proper attachment to whatever idea they're trying to give, but think about how it's going to affect the people around them and make changes accordingly, and have no ego as in such that only designers can design. Anyone can have a great idea, and I think we should always accept whatever is given. So I think that's what qualities of a good designer would be.
I think it is important for a designer to be inclusive towards all the people that come from different walks of life, because if a designer doesn't think about them, then who will?
So for a designer, you have to be very creative and maybe spontaneous at most of the times to understand what is going on in the society. And it's very important to articulate the pain points that a person is having or maybe going through, and maybe expressive in your terms as a designer.
I think what makes a good designer is open-mindedness, like I said earlier, playfulness, and most importantly, they have to care about what they're doing, about who they're doing it for, and about making a difference.
I think a designer needs to be adaptable, empathetic, have really good communication skills, and also be curious to learn about new things and new contexts as and when they are presented with it.
A good designer should be empathetic, creative, obviously, a little whimsical, try to and care about their stakeholders and the people that they are creating for, and be adaptable to change.
Being able to manage multiple systems at the same time would be a quality that a designer must have. So, to be able to be in the user's shoes and to be able to be empathetic and caring in a way that it allows you to design for the people is a quality that designers should have.
Designers should have a lot of skills and qualities. So like there are obviously the qualities that any creator requires, that that are like being skillful in what you do and other stuff. That apart from that, I feel like designers should also have qualities like being empathetic and other soft skills like communication and being in people, socializing. Those are very important things for any sort of designer.
I think they should be able to run wild, be able to have fun, and be agile, be empathetic, and yeah, see possibilities where maybe no one else can.
So I think a quality of a designer should be empathizing, because as they are making products for users and not for themselves, they should know what users want, what are their needs. So that is what quality they should have.
I believe a quality that every designer should have is maybe being more risk taking, someone who's able to kind of jump into decisions that they think might just work and not kind of go completely with the brief, maybe try to go a bit out of the box and kind of still be on that exploration side of I can do this if I think this idea is a bit unique or is a bit different from what is being asked. I think that's also always a plus that a designer should do.
Designer needs to be multi-talented kind of a thing. He need to think in all ways. So that's what the quality designer need to have.
So quality of a designer is like जुगाड़ निकालना हर चीज में, क्योंकि your whole design is like a जुगाड़ for life. You design to make जुगाड़ for life. So that is a major quality that you need to have. Apart from that, there are like main things ki like attention for details, experience देखना है, and other things. But yes.
All right. So, what do you think? What should be the quality of a designer? Can you point out 2-3 qualities? You have just listened to different perspectives, and it is very diverse. Different individuals have different opinions, but at the same time, we do get common attributes which defines a designer. And one of them is audience, or you can say audiencing. So audience means to become a good designer, one should be good listener as well. If you are not having these skills, there is a chance that you may miss a lot of critiques, a lot of discussion, a lot of feedback which is given by your user and your peer group. Another thing is, second is working in structure or following a design process. As a designer, you have to be very organized and you have to follow a certain method. If you are not organized, there is a chance that you will miss many important aspects, whether it is in the phase of discovery, design, development, or deployment. So organizing your work in proper structure is another key for a successful designer. Agree? The third thing is, and the final one, which we can derive from all the discussion which happened from other people, is to become a good designer, you should be a good narrator. That means he or she should be able to tell the story about the product, ideas, or concepts in a very interesting and effective way to the audience and users. Will you remember these 3 qualities? Because these are the very core to, especially for graphic design students. And because these 3 qualities are going to help you out in terms of generating the ideas, building upon it, delivering the product, and also selling or presenting that product to your client, or convincing your audience to read what exactly you have meant to be read from your posters or any design work. Another aspect of a successful designer is his or her awareness about the design. That means one should know the history. But any idea how it will help? If you look at it from a graphic design perspective, understanding history will help to develop good visual design vocabulary, which can help to inspire and at the same time make you little cautious of not repeating or replicating the existing one. Do you get it? So tell me, what do you think about this image? Can you guess what it is? For the first time when I interacted with this image, I thought this is some showpiece or maybe something related with alien or any replica of a spaceship. So what do you think what this can be? And it will be very interesting if we could have this discussion in classroom setup, that we could find multiple opinion about this product. So this is a lemon squeezer designed by Philip Stark. With this, I mean to say that if you are not aware about what has already been designed or produced, you might not come up with a design idea which is unique and at the same time appealing as well. Another thing is, as a designer, one should also learn how to appreciate and critique other works. Just to make you understand the role of history or power of design awareness, this is another example from a popular young graphic designer, Osman Tushuma. This self-initiated project of his is based on celebrating African countries' independence from colonial rules through an exploration of lettering and letter forms. This was initiated by the disturbance of the xenophobic attacks happening in South Africa towards other African nationals. So if I have to put this in his own word, in his own voice, he mentioned that in educating myself further about each country, when he was doing this project, I started critiquing the state in which it is in by means of ancient cultural symbols, art, sculpture, or patterns. I also attempt to explore the similarities we have with one another. And by doing so, I am able to realize that it's more about learning from the past and from other cultures, so to preserve who we are and celebrate one another. This is a very interesting quote in terms of getting inspiration from history and then the richness we have in our culture. And that means culture cannot be separated from design. Especially graphic design and culture is a part of history. So if you know the history, you will have access to very important data which can inspire, guide, or help you to make informed design decisions. This is another example where numbers are inspired from textile motifs. If you look on the screen, this is inspired from the pattern, fabric pattern from a tribe called Hebesa, and it has been nicely translated into letters. So this is what he has done across all the posters and then collaterals which he has created while working on this project. Also, to succeed, understanding your assignments and discovering your purpose in the beginning is key. That means your problem definition should be very clear and robust. And you should know what exactly you're going to do or work upon and what exactly you're going to deliver. And this stage requires asking a lot of questions to yourself itself. So more questions you will ask, more clarity you will find, and accordingly it may help for you to envision to understand the future steps and what exactly you should do in the next stage. And believe me, doubt is going to be your best ally in this whole journey. When you have doubt, you will have lot of questions, right? And then why might one design, how design operates, all these questions will come to you, right? And then accordingly you will start understanding it. And it will bring a desire to better understand the how and why of communication design, product design, experience design, etc. And when you have this doubt and lot of question, there will be many instances when you will feel like discarding your ideas and burning them, right? Have you gone through this phase? I'm sure most of you have experienced this, when you're not getting your ideas and then you're ending up with a lot of ideas which is ineffective. You feel like you're lost, and you discard most of your ideas. So this helps you to start questioning yourself about your capabilities, design decisions, and your choices. But while doing so, you will also learn how to conclude and make sense out of your work. And this is how you can grow and become a good designer. So discarding ideas, burning your ideas is not useless, right? It is going to help you out to understand the field in better way, and then also motivate you to come up with innovative design ideas and design solutions. So we will stop here for now, hoping that this discussion has helped you to open up your mind in terms of understanding the design field and different qualities of a designer. In next video, Professor Saurabh will further take you through different definition of design, and will try to make you understand the role of design in our day-to-day life. We will start again from where we have stopped today. But before we leave, I want you to go back and investigate this term called visual coherence. We will start from this slide in our next video. Till then, bye and see you soon.